Welcome to Dragonfly. Today's move is the front elbow. Coaches, instructors, let's take a look at the front elbow technique of how to coach this to your students, all right? Remember now, the front elbow, we're gonna have three different components. We'll have the footwork itself, the hand going head height, and the elbow itself. We'll put those three moves together to make the front elbow. Now, how are we gonna instruct this to our students with autism and special needs? This is how. We're going to have a systematic breakdown, step by step, putting each component together to make one move. In this case, the front elbow. All right, those three components are the following. It'll be the foot, the hand, and the elbow itself. We'll put those three moves together to make the front elbow technique. All right, here we go. First part of this today, we'll be taking the normal walking step. Now, sometimes with the students with autism and Asperger's, they'll say, I did put my foot in front of me, Mr. Lee. Well, what we want to make sure is we measure that in the special needs community. A footwork that is, my foot's in front of me, that statement is truthful. My foot is in front of me, but it's too far, as we know. Or you'll see students sometimes say, I put my foot in front of me, Mr. Lee. That is also truthful for someone with autism and Asperger's, that they sometimes go, my foot is in front of me. What we want to make sure is we define for them a typical, a normal walking step. Once we find that walking step, what we want to do is make sure that we begin to count repetitions out for them. Remember, systematic training with Asperger's. It needs to be precise and it needs to be measured. Here it goes. Take a look. Once we have that step, we'll do 10 of them. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, when we're teaching autism students this type of movement, once we have that defined, we want to leave that component as one, if you will, Lego block. The other component is going to be the hand that's raised up to the, notice, head height. As we know in the front elbow technique, we're going to need that hand to hit the elbow eventually. So we know it needs to be at least shoulder height, even better if it is head height. So what is your measurement on the move? It's got to be shoulder height, even better if it's head height. So what we're going to be doing is bringing that hand up and bringing it back down. Now, sometimes you'll see the students when they're doing this, they'll be like, it's in front of me, Mr. Lee. Well, notice it is in front of them, but it's not at the right height. The measurement is the head height. Sometimes you'll see that hand go like this, especially with the Asperger kids. They'll do this. Mr. Lee, my hand is head height, but it's not what? Extended. So it's going to be important for us to measure where does that hand go? Head height, and it's also outwards, okay? Now notice that previous move was the foot going out. So if it was our left foot, it needs to be our left hand. One last component of this is you'll notice the hand went up, and students will sometimes begin to swing it back. Make sure their measurement is head height, back to the leg. Head height, back to the leg. We don't want to be swinging. What we want to do is teach them the self-control of here to here. So what's that measured movement? Next to the leg, head height, and back. So the full move, up and back down. All right, let's do 10 of those. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Excellent. So now we have 2 of the moves that we need of the 3 to create the front elbow. The first being the foot, the second being the hand, and the third is the elbow. Now here's one thing we need to be cautious of when we teach the elbow. As we know, the elbow is a very powerful move. And what happens sometimes with students in the special needs community, they jack that thing so hard, they hurt their hand, right? Because the move is essentially a very powerful self-defense move. So what we do to do that is we put our hands together like in a praying position, and we just clap. Why? We get that impact to understand what will they do when they strike their hand, because we don't want them to get hurt from their own move. So what we do is sometimes you'll see them go, which is good because we're starting to go, oh, we're going to make contact on where? The palm of the hand. But the clapping, if they start doing so soft, they're not prepping the hand for the impact, okay? So we want to start to measure that for them. It's too soft. Okay, let's get that hand ready. And you'll know if it's too hard. Ooh, that hurt myself, okay? So you want to make sure that you can measure what you think is right or wrong for that student. You'll have to weigh that when you're with your students. All right, you'll do a 10 count. Remember, measure the moves in terms of quantity as well. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What was I doing? I was prepping the hand, showing the placement of where impact is, and also so we can get ready for the impact of the elbow. All right, so we know we have the foot, we know we have the hand. Third move is the elbow, which we'll put all together into that front elbow. We prep the hand for safety. Now we strike the elbow. We have a general idea where they'll hit because they have prepped the hand. But what we want to make sure we do, hand, elbow together. And this is what I'll do with the students sometimes. I'll say, clap your elbow. And I'll demonstrate it. All right? As you get used to their comfortability with it, then we'll get ready to strike the elbow. Now, here's a couple things on this part here. Some of the students will do this. Instead of doing a, watch this, palm down, they will do this, palm side. This is not a move. In fact, they would get hurt in this part of the limb. So sometimes you'll see your students try to do that. Very important safety piece right now, turning the palm to the down. Notice the difference. Striking like this, very bad, a no-no, to this. That's the motion. So what we'll do, we'll get to here. Instead of clapping, we're clapping. And that is clapping with the elbow. All right, let's do 10 of those. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Excellent. All right, now we have all those components. We worked on the footwork, the hand, we prepped the hand, and the elbow. Let's put all of those pieces together. Foot, hand, raise that elbow, put it together. Looks like this. Make sure you have your students do that a couple of times. And then when you're ready, count out 10. Ready? Let's do 10 together. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Front elbow.